India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has led a groundbreaking ceremony for a controversial temple in the city of Ayodhya. And the elaborate ceremony was carried live on television across India. The holy site sparked some of India's worst sectarian violence 30 years ago when a 16th century mosque was torn down by a Hindu mob. About 2,000 people, mostly Muslims, were killed in riots that followed. Both Hindus and Muslims have claimed ownership ever since. But last year, India's Supreme Court ruled that a Hindu temple could be built there. The construction of the temple fulfills a core election promise from Mr. Modi's Hindu nationalist BJP party. Today's ceremony comes exactly a year after Mr. Modi decided to revoke the special autonomous status of Jammu and Kashmir. Neha Punya joins us live from New Delhi for more on this story. And Neha, India is fighting one of the world's worst COVID-19 outbreaks. Why did Mr. Modi go ahead with this ceremony now?
That's been one of the biggest criticisms of this event. Many, including some Lord Ram devotees who've been campaigning for this temple to be built in Ayodhya, have questioned the timing, saying why couldn't this be delayed when the pandemic was slightly under control? And it is a grim situation in India. For the last 7 days, we've seen more than 50,000 new cases being added to India's tally every single day. Deaths have been surging as well. But every time the government was asked this question, they simply said that safe distancing norms would be implemented. We saw that to some extent at that event today when Prime Minister Modi sat down for the prayer. There was a reasonable distance between him and the other 4 priests that were at that site. But many who were watching this event in the audience weren't wearing their masks, some of them wearing it incorrectly. But critics have said this event is also a distraction ploy. The government has been facing a lot of criticism on the mismanagement of the COVID-19 outbreak, on that border standoff with China that's now played on for more than 3 months. And experts say that this is perhaps an easy way to appease Hindu voters. But at the heart of this is the BJP's own ideology. They've been campaigning for this temple since 1989. They were behind the mob, experts say, inciting that mob that raised that temple in 1992. And this has been an election promise by the Prime Minister. So this is him coming to his voters and saying, look, I've delivered.
Right. So Mr. Modi's government, well, besides just growing criticism for pushing its Hindu nationalist agenda, also questioned about the timing of it, as you mentioned earlier. Could the construction of this temple aggravate religious conflict, though?
That is a real concern, but the BJP continues to maintain that it's not done anything illegal. It's backed by that Supreme Court verdict that allowed the government to build a temple at the site where the mosque once stood. And they've also maintained that there's nothing wrong in doing this because at the end of the day, India does have more Hindus than any other religious group. But many critics have also pointed out that India is a secular country with a diverse group of people who live here. And they've questioned whether it makes sense for the Prime Minister of a country to identify so blatantly with what is a Hindu event. He also spoke about this, saying that it's a dream come true for him personally, that one many thought wouldn't materialize in this very lifetime. But when you talk about the majoritarian agenda of the BJP government, it's no coincidence that today also marks 1 year since the revocation of Kashmir's special status, India's only Muslim majority region. And critics are saying that because of this event, the entire media narrative, the attention of the world, if you may, has been focused on that event in Ayodhya. No one's really talking about what's happening in Kashmir, how the lives of the people there have been impacted, and how the BJP has perhaps not delivered on its promise. So many are saying in that sense, it's a political win for the BJP, but might be a setback for the pluralistic fabric of India.
Thanks for that update. Neha Punya speaking to us from New Delhi.